Welcome to Insight Magazine. I'm David Matlin. Well, in this episode, we bring you an exceptional report from northern Iraq in the autonomous region of Kurdistan, where the Kurdish people are engaged in two battles to finally create an independent state and, above all, to break the advance of the Islamic State jihadists and recover lost territory. Well, this is what motivates the Kurdish fighters of the elite Peshmerga. In an exclusive interview with Kurdish President Masoud Barzani, he explained how this struggle lies at the heart of his people's destiny in the Middle East. From the frontline troops that protect the capital Erbil to the story of Christian families saved from the barbarity of the Islamic State, our cameras film their historic struggle, the battle for the birth of a nation. Iraqi Kurdistan, fight to survive. A report by Henrique Cymerman for i24News.
Tens of thousands of Islamic State militiamen control 1/3 of the territory of Iraq, as well as 1/3 of Syria, an area equal to that of England. Their wish is to establish a caliphate led by the Sharia, the Islamic laws, taken from the 7th century. The Iraqi Kurdish soldiers confronting them are also known as the Peshmerga, those who face death. Over the last month, they managed to launch an offensive and recover approximately 20,000 square kilometers. At that point, ISIS was already 25 kilometers away from the Kurdish capital Erbil. General Sirwan Barzani is the leader of Kurdish forces and is regarded by his men as the savior of Kurdistan. When we landed in Erbil, the Kurdish capital, high tension was in the air. In order to get in, the Jordanian aircraft had to cross over territory controlled by the Islamic State.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just landed at the Erbil International Airport.
To begin with, we were taken by the President's assistants to the most sensitive place of Kurdistan, the combat front line of Mahmur, where General Barzani, the Kurdish president's nephew, managed to block the offensive of the Islamic State and begin the recovery of lost territory. The Kurdish Peshmerga fight the Islamic Caliphate and its supporters from around the world. Peshmerga is supported by an international coalition of 60 countries, led by the US. This man, General Barzani, is 45 years old. At 29, he was already ranked general. Approximately 1 year ago, when the Kurdish capital Erbil was seriously threatened by the men of the Islamic State, he was summoned by his uncle, President Barzani, to lead a force blocking the advance of the Islamic State.
They're trying to go into Erbil to do the same, but thanks to God, so we're just coming and stopping them from what only center of Erbil to Daesh, and that time was 25 kilometers only.
What are they looking for, in your opinion?
They call this is our Sharia because we don't accept them. They are not Muslims. So when they are not accepting them as a Muslim, when you go occupy some places, kill the people, and we will take the women, it's free for us. This is the mentality of the radicals.
You arrested personally here for hours some of these ISIS fighters. What can you tell us about the profile of these people?
Many of them, when we talk to them, they say, so why you are fighting us? Well, what's the reason? Because we didn't go out of our region as a Kurdish territory, Kurdish villages. And they say, no, you are helping, you are Israeli, you are imperialism, you are, you're fighting behind of the let's say they called Kafir countries, the Western country. You are with them, you are not with the Islamic Sharia, so because that, you have to kill you. So it's more than 100...
The Peshmerga soldiers are fighting the Islamic State in a border 1,050 kilometers long. In this area, they are the only military boots on the ground, trying to halt the Islamists.
Enemy fighters in sight, they're all armed.
They receive great support from the US drones, as well as helicopters belonging to American, British and Jordanian forces, attacking by day and by night the infrastructures of ISIS. It is hard to imagine that the North American operators of these drones are located more than 12,000 kilometers away in Texas or in Nevada, USA, directing the attacks simply with their joysticks. The Iraqi flag can still be seen here in all official places. President Masoud Barzani, who leads this autonomy since 2005, believes that the Iraqi project is a failure and that the future solution would be to create a Shiite area in the south, with its capital in Baghdad, one Sunni entity in the center, with its capital in Mosul, and the sovereign state of Kurdistan, based on Erbil. The government's presidency is situated 45 minutes from the capital, at the Salah ad-Din area, completely surrounded by security forces and military checkpoints. What is the current situation of the fight, the Kurd fight, against ISIS, against Daesh? What's happening now?
It's working very well. Peshmerga forces managed to take back from IS almost 95% of the areas. And only the remaining 5% is due to other developments in other areas. But the IS threat is not over. As long as IS will stay in Mosul, the threat for the region will be continuous.
The world knew Al-Qaeda in the last years, but ISIS is like a new phenomenon. Where do they come from, and what is the most, I would say, surprising thing for you when you see the way they fight and what they want to do?
IS is not a phenomenon, it's an extension of Al-Qaeda. They have the same background, they come from the same school. And as you know, the basis of Al-Qaeda was the jihadi Takfiri Salafist movement. Another difference they have with Al-Qaeda is that they were dependent on spectacular assassinations, car bombs and suicide bombings.
We need weapons. We don't ask for the troops on ground. We don't ask for the soldiers on ground. We are ready to give our blood like we are doing, but just we want weapons. We ask you for weapons. I think it's really is nothing as to compare with the Peshmerga lives.
The Kurds have no doubt that one of the key holders of power in the Islamic State are former generals from Saddam Hussein's army who converted to extreme Islamists.
There are some of them. They just adopted this ideology and became IS. But some of the supporters of the former regime, they are also supporting IS, this ideology.
They captured 5 Iraqi divisions for the Iraqi army. They have everything. They have tanks. They have mortars. They have American new weapons.
We ride along the combat front on General Barzani's jeep. Each movement is secured by dozens of soldiers armed to their teeth in fear of a kidnapping attempt by the Islamic State or a car bomb attack. The convoy of protecting jeeps prevent cars traveling in the opposite direction to pass over to our side of the road. General Barzani decides to show us the Martyrs Square.
This is the idea. So there will be the monument here with all the names of our martyrs and people who are losing their life for our people to stay alive.
Did you know personally someone?
Of course, many of them.
Friends or something?
One of them is my friend for more than 25 years back, and he's one of the heroes He attacked by the RPG 4 times the tanks by his hand.
The Peshmerga legions, too, rely on foreign soldiers of Kurdish origin who left their homes to come and save their nation of origin. They managed to restore part of the military equipment from the Islamic State.
I was the one that caught them and killed them and got these tanks from IS. There were 7 people in this tank hiding inside. When the RPG hit them, 2 guys were burned. We made a hole in the ground.
People in Erbil portray themselves both as cursed and blessed at the same time. They feel blessed because the Kurds are a tough, strong-willed people with enormous natural resources, including numerous oil wells, a huge amount of gas, gold mines, and minerals as magnesium. But they also feel cursed because they suffered the genocide of nearly 200,000 people under the great dictator of Iraq, Saddam Hussein. And now they have to fight against one of the most radical movements in human history, the Islamic State, which aims to establish a system of life based back from the times of the Prophet Muhammad and the Sharia principles of Islam. The helicopters of the Kurdish army evacuate inhabitants of Iraqi and Syrian cities and villages. Many of them are Yazidis and Christians persecuted by the radicals. Back at the capital city of Erbil, in the neighborhood of Ain Kawa, we encounter Christian refugee camps who fled their cities in northern Iraq when the militias of the Islamic State arrived to their homes and started raping women and shooting and throwing homosexuals from the top of the buildings. In the Ayun camp in Erbil, there are 146 families who fled from Karamles, a village located next to the city of Karakos. 3 families now live on each floor or in a caravan, but the memory of fear and terror is still felt in their eyes.
ISIS are very cruel. Everyone afraid from them, everyone. Because we are Christian. We are Christian. They want from us to be Muslims, like them. And they kill every man or man with a knife.
You heard that Daesh killed 2 children, they shot them, and then what? You took, what did you bring here?
Only some paper, original paper, and some money. We take my car and came here, only this.
And the whole village just went out like this?
Yeah, all this.
And you were in panic? Everybody just running?
Yeah, in our car, every people.
The days are long, and amidst the despair, the only shelter is the Mar Elias church. They all pray in Aramaic, the language Jesus spoke 2,000 years ago. This is one of the oldest Christian communities in the world, but no one knows how long they will last. Aren't you afraid that ISIS will come here to Erbil?
I afraid very, very high, because in one day ISIS attack Erbil. I hope to travel to leave this country.
And they are torturing minorities, I understand. The Pope said to me recently in an interview that there are more martyrs, Christian martyrs today, than in the beginning of Christianity in the 1st century. You are protecting Christians. We've been here in some different camps in Erbil. What do you intend to do in that sense to avoid more killing?
Protecting minorities, for us, is a human responsibility that we have to do. We have to help them against IS. The best option for them is to stay, not to leave the country. Collectively, we can defeat IS and drive them away from the areas back to their places. I met with religious Christian leaders here and told them not to encourage their people to leave, because as Kurds, we have the same destiny. We are not going to leave you alone. We will protect you.
The first thing the Islamic Caliphate did was to try and erase the current borders between Syria and Iraq.
As you can see, this is under our feet right now. That's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi used to say, he's the breaker of barriers. Inshallah, we'll break the barrier of Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, all the countries, inshallah, until we reach Quds, inshallah ta'ala. This is the first barriers of many barriers we will break, inshallah ta'ala.
Old frontiers drawn on maps left the Kurdish nation divided between 4 different countries: Iraq, Syria, Turkey and Iran. Today they are the largest scattered nation in the world without independence, more than 45 million people. The biggest dream in Kurdistan is that the storm the Middle East has been going through in the past 4 years will eventually allow them to establish their own independent state. But before that, the Peshmerga are well aware that the fight against the Islamic State is the fight of their lives.
Well, thank you for joining us on this journey of Inside Magazine this week. We'll be back next week at the same time.